Well, welcome everyone. Welcome to our coaching cafe. And thank you all for joining me here. I'm actually on holidays. It's Natalie Ashdown here with you. It's my last day of holidays today. And it's really nice of you to come and join me, to take this 30-minute holiday with me. And it's funny because I was thinking, why am I running a coaching cafe when I'm on holidays? But I really had this strong feeling that we need to take time out together as a group, as an alumni, as a coaching community. Hi, Angie, great to see you. So I thought, yeah, let's run the coaching cafe and let's take 30 minutes out together and see where we go. So if I'm not making words, it's because I haven't really been communicating the whole week. Thank you, Tommy says, great idea. So before we begin, let me acknowledge the traditional owners and the custodians of the lands on which we meet today and their continuing connection to the land, the waters and communities of Australia. And we pay our respects to them and to their elders past, present and emerging, and to anyone who might be on the line today who is from an Aboriginal Torres Strait Island background. So our agenda for today, it's very hard to set an agenda when you're on holidays, and you'll see there I've updated my professional photo because because that's what we look like at the moment in real live Zoom time. But it's all about this idea of taking a 30-minute holiday. The more I think about it, the more I think I really want to be introducing this into my practice. I want to be introducing this idea just into my daily life, and we'll talk about what that means. If you're new to the Coaching Cafe, welcome. You've come on a great day because we're going to be looking at how we can actually take some time out, and booking this time in your diary on a Friday, if you're listening live at 12 noon, is perfect timing in terms of booking a meeting with yourself to take some time out. We are all about creating a community, sharing our learned experience and offering thought-provoking conversations. So if you'd like to interact with everybody, please go ahead and type some messages into the chat box and we'll pick them up there as we go along. And of course, if you are collecting your ICF CCEUs at the moment, well done. You need quite a few of them actually to renew your credential. So you can contact us at support@opendoorcoaching.com.au and we can get your certificates to you for any of the coaching cafes that you've actually attended. So let's just quickly talk about the research around taking a holiday and then we'll actually get into having a little bit of a take a holiday time for ourselves as well. So if you look at any of the research around mindfulness, around meditation, around well-being, you'll see that the research is really clear. Most of you who have been on the webinars with me before have seen this little formula that I love to use from, it was originated from Tim Galloway and Tom Brockhurst. What am I saying? Tom Brockhurst. It was originated from, sorry, Tom, I saw your name in the in the chat there. It originated from Sir John Whitmore and Tim Galloway in their book, The Inner Game of Tennis. And they used this formula when they were working with executives at IBM. And the formula is performance equals potential minus interference. And that's what we're doing as a coach. We are increasing our clients' potential and we're decreasing the interference. So I'm going to suggest, Tom says he'll take it. I'm going to suggest that actually taking a break increases our performance. Now, it might not be increasing my performance right now because I've been off for a week and can barely make sentences, but taking a break increases our performance. It also decreases interference. So what I have found through mindfulness practice and from taking these little holidays, as I'm going to call them, we're actually decreasing the interference. We are allowing ourselves to return to an equilibrium, and we're allowing ourselves to return to a focused point rather than having our minds racing all over the place. So if you're a person who has a lot on your mind, there's a lot going on your plate, not just if you had this going on before COVID and now COVID is actually up to the ante on that, then there's a lot we can actually do to take these little holidays for ourselves. I actually made a bit of a list of things that I'd like to do on holidays, but it wasn't like a to-do list that I had to tick off. It was like a random selection of things that I thought, What could I just take 30 minutes here and there to actually do? And so I've been doing all of these, great little things, including cleaning the oven, which I think is a little bit sad, but very exciting when the oven's so beautiful and clean. It's taking the time to do all these little things for ourselves that just make us feel good. Now, during our work practice, it's really important too. We can't be taking like half an hour off, like every couple of hours. But how can we take these little holidays, or somewhere in our diary, book this time in our diary, because we need it. All of the executive coaching I'm doing, what's coming out of that executive coaching is that people just do not have time to think. They don't have time to do the strategy thinking. They don't have time to really review documents and review things that they need to in preparation for the next meeting, to put their thoughts together. So I wonder how, as coaches of our people, of coaches of our clients, if you're a leader or a manager of people, how we can actually encourage these booking out of the time. There's a whole leadership group I'm working with at the moment, 16 people who have committed to booking out an hour of time so that they can focus on their professional development each week, or they can focus on whatever they need to focus on. And what they've done is communicated that to their team. During this hour, I am unavailable unless there's an absolute emergency. And they said, and I recommend that you do that yourself. So they're communicating down to their teams that they recommend that they do this. So it's not just, what we're finding is it's almost like a desperation. People need this time. So I'm calling it holiday time, which, because I'm on holidays. But I'm thinking about, how can we encourage our teams? How can we encourage ourselves to at least take that time in our diaries during our working weeks? And then the key thing is to have discipline and to really protect that time as well. So we might use it for thinking, we might use it for reading, we might use it for writing, we might use it just for sitting quietly and doing a bit of mindfulness. Whatever we use that time for is so important. Helps us reset, helps us refocus, increases our performance, and decreases the interference that's going on as well. So let me hear your thoughts about that. I've just been trying to develop this idea about taking these little holidays. You don't have to take necessarily a whole week off, but how can you take 30 minutes later on tonight? How can you take 30 minutes on the weekend just to do something that is really for yourself that you would love? And Tom, thank you for jumping in. He says, leading by example is a really good start. Yes. When I was coaching this senior team, they realized that it seems kind of obvious to us, doesn't it? But they really had to realize that they needed to start setting the example. Because they weren't doing that, it was having a huge impact on their teams, a cascading down effect. So yeah, we definitely need to take the example. Lynn says, protecting that time is a challenge in itself. You are absolutely right. That's what we're experiencing at the moment with the clients I'm coaching. She says, especially with working from home arrangements and the expectations that everyone is available all of the time. I'm glad you've shared that, Lynn, because it is very true. The group that I was coaching last week, they said that they blocked this time, and then people were blocking things, like they were putting meetings over the time. So if I put, time out in my diary, people go, oh, well, she's on a timeout. We'll just put that meeting in there anyway. Like they were double booking meetings deliberately. And I said, we really have to train the people around us that this time is important. And the other tip was around putting that time in your diaries so that it wouldn't get interrupted. So what do you have to call that meeting? Do you have to call that meeting strategy time? Do you have to call it strategic planning? What do you have to call it so that if the average bear in the workplace looks at your diary and sees strategic thinking or strategic meeting, they think, ooh, I better not book over the top of that. So there's two things going on there. One is, if I look in other people's diaries, that I have respect and I don't just book meetings on top of meetings. That's a communication exercise. It's really about reclaiming our time and then protecting the time. Now, the other thing is also is us protecting the time too, so that we don't go, oh, well, I said I would book that time for strategy, but I need to do these other things. So I'll just keep moving that time. There's a lady who I was coaching last week who had a diary note come up at 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. every day to do a specific mindfulness practice. So 10 a.m. she was going to do mindfulness practice, and 3 p.m. she was going to do mindfulness practice. And guess what she was doing? When the notification came up, delete, 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 delete. And she had been doing that for weeks. She had been ignoring those diary entries. So then the thing I'm thinking about is, when is the best time as well? When do you put it in your diary so that if it comes up, you actually go, yes, I'm doing that. So there's a lot of things to think about from a discipline point of view there, I think, as well. Thank you, everybody. Feel free to jump in and tell me your thoughts and comments on that as well. Tom says perhaps attaching 30 minutes to an existing habit. Yes, like making your coffee, shutting down your PC. I think you should call it. I think you should call it what you want, and then decline meetings to make the point. Yeah, that's a good point too. So, attaching it to an already existing habit, like making your coffee, shutting down your PC. Tom says, call it what you want, and then decline the meetings to actually make a point. So if you call it, thinking time, and someone books it over, you could decline that meeting, couldn't you? To say, oh, no, you're cutting into my strategic time or thinking time. That way, your team will be given permission to do the same. Yeah, I think that is what it's about, isn't it? The role modeling. Angie says, be prepared to make adjustments until it works for you. Yes, I think that's really a very good idea. Thank you, Angie, because, we might, get all gung ho and say, we're going to do this once a week on a Thursday at whatever time. And then it doesn't work. So we need to be kind of flexible like that, don't we? Until we find something that works. But it is interesting once we get the habit going. So Friday, Australian Eastern Standard Time, or Daylight Savings Time, when we come into it, Friday at 12 noon, this is where you'll find me, on this coaching cafe with you. And it sort of, when we first started out, we had to really make it a habit. And now it's a habit. It's just what I expect to be doing at Friday at 12 noon. So you've been able to take this time out Friday at 12 noon for the coaching cafe. The coaching cafe could be your 30-minute time that you're dedicating. So where's another 30-minute time that we might be able to do that during our work week as well? Or maybe it's after work. Maybe it's on the weekend. I'm not being very, it doesn't have to be any time. It's just about how much time can you take, 15, 10, 30, and where can you put it in? Jody says there's a book called Essentialism by Greg McCowan that addresses these challenges of getting time to focus. There's such a strong pull of busyness and how it's perceived now as a status. Yes. So Gail says, thank you for the recommendation. And Tom appreciates Angie's comments. Thanks for the recommendation, Jody, from Gail. Even better. So Angie says she just found the book on Audible, so can listen to it in the car. Yes, I remember a long time ago, someone saying, oh, we're so busy, but they were using it kind of as an excuse. And then we said, well, if you're not busy, you probably should be redeployed, or actually back then someone said, well, if you're not busy, you should be sacked. Everyone should be doing stuff. That it's this kind of ridiculous over busyness, busy. It's what you're busy with. So yes, perhaps getting away from that strong pull of busyness, that, oh, I'm so busy, I'm so important, and getting back to actually what's very important. So it is interesting to me. This is a really strong topic in the coaching that we're doing at the moment. It's interesting for me that, particularly in Victoria, a lot of people are saying, well, I can't take a holiday because there's nowhere to go. Like, why would you take a holiday because there's nowhere to go? I can definitely recommend taking the break out, even if you're staying home. is a really great idea. Okay. So let's take this holiday together. We've got it booked in our diary. I'm thinking let's just take this short time out together. Let's practice some mindfulness. Really, it's Friday. Let's just reset ourselves, ourselves up for the rest of the day and for a really strong weekend. But just before I do that, any other thoughts or comments coming to mind in terms of these ideas we're sharing? I do feel like they're so obvious, but this whole idea at the moment during COVID times about protecting our time, because we're Zoom meeting after Zoom meeting after Zoom meeting has almost become, one of the most important things we can do. Nandor says Sleep by Nick Littlehales, who's a sleep consultant to professional sports teams, advocates napping during the day for optimal performance. Yes, that's interesting. They've tested the optimal amount of time to sleep or nap, and there was something about having a shot of coffee. I think I read must have come up on the news feed, having a shot of coffee, then taking a nap, because then when the coffee kicks in, you're wide awake after the short nap. So that might be something interesting to explore as well. Tom says, often in my coaching sessions, we will discuss how valuable the sessions are just to be able to stop and think. So the coaching session in itself is a reflection. That is very important. Actually, I really do agree with you. The role that we fulfill in as coaches to our teams, and also if you're a professional coach to your clients, is actually allowing them to take that hour out to do reflection, to do the thinking they need to do. That's very true. Tom says it's called a nappuccino. So maybe we should all practice that one time during the week as well. I think I'd probably do it thinking, is this working? Is this working? So I wouldn't be taking a nap at all. A nappuccino. Alrighty. Well, if you're willing, I can see, we've got a wonderful group of alumni on the line. So let's do some mindfulness together. Let's just take this little holiday together. And I was going to, if you haven't been introduced to this, boxed breathing, I think is one of the most easiest and most quick, if you like, most functional ways of bringing ourselves back to focus, bringing ourselves back to high performance, and decreasing interference. For those of you that have tuned into other webinars we've done where we've looked at boxed breathing, you'll remember that it was actually that some of the Navy SEALs, emergency services, armed forces that actually introduced boxed breathing into their practices to regulate heartbeats, to regulate breathing in emergency situations. And I kind of figure, well, if it's good enough for them, it's good enough for me. So when I started practicing this, it made a huge difference. And I have introduced it to a number of my clients who are really kind of wound up, if you like, wound up by the stress, wound up from working from home. So how do we, I see a wound up like a band. How do we start to loosen that like a band, just unwind it a little bit? And one of the other most important things we can do, and I know a number of you do it on a daily basis, and that's how do we express gratitude. So I've noticed a lot with COVID, there's a lot of talking about what we've lost, what we don't have, how bad it is. In Victoria, we're so jealous of people going out to pubs in other states and, getting around your places freely. So, we're in lockdown, we've got masks, we've got curfews, businesses are closed. I went for a walk down the local street, and I was just so shocked. I know businesses are closed, but I was so shocked by what I really saw. Um, and as I was walking back home, I just went up to get a ridiculously priced smoothie as part of my holiday checklist. As I was walking back, I was just expressing gratitude, just gratitude for being here, gratitude for having a healthy body, gratitude for being able to walk and breathe the fresh air, even though I had a mask on, gratitude for the business, for you, the alumni. And even though I was walking amongst shops, or not walking in the shops, but looking in shop windows that were all closed, as part of my 90-minute exercise, I was really, really making sure that I was expressing gratitude for what I have and what we have. So I think this is another way that we can get rid of the interference and the stress that's going on, or not get rid of it, but perhaps turn the volume down on it, so that we can then be focused and high perform. So let's take a few minutes out now. For those of you that haven't done boxed breathing, we're going to breathe in for 4 counts, hold it for 4 counts, breathe out for 4 counts, and then, I beg your pardon, breathe out. Yeah, that's right. Breathe out for 4 counts and then hold for 4 counts. So it's in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, and then hold for 4. So what I'll do is I'll just kind of count you in for the first couple, and then I'll put my microphone on mute and we can just breathe together. And what I'd be interested in, we'll just do 5 minutes. And what I'd be interested in is seeing, how do you feel at the end of those 5 minutes? And can you spend this time also focusing on gratitude? Can we focus on things that we're grateful for? So call to mind things that we might be grateful for, as we go along. So here we go. So you might like to do this practice together with your eyes open or your eyes closed. You might be standing, you might be sitting, you might have your feet up, whatever really works for you. And when you're ready, we're just going to draw our attention to our breath. And then together as an alumni or in your own time, we can all do a big breath in, 3, 4, and we're going to hold, 2, 3, 4, and breathe out, 2, 3, 4, and hold, 2, 3, 4. We're going to breathe in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4, and hold, 2, 3, 4. In, hold, deep breath out, and hold. And just allow yourself now and out to do that as you by yourself. Just focusing on the breath. And hold. On the next breath in, think about what we're grateful for now. What's one thing that comes to mind that we can be grateful for? Really breathe that gratitude down into your body. Really breathe in that gratefulness. Breathe it down into your body. I like to imagine sun on my face as I breathe in and hold. And just in your own time now, let your breath just return to whatever feels natural, bringing in things that you're grateful for. Right here in the moment. Allowing noises or distractions just to be there in the background. Just taking a little holiday, actually. And when you're ready, if your eyes are closed, you can open your eyes. Orientate yourself to your environment. Come back to us if you want, or stay there for the next 10 minutes, whatever you like. Feel free to pop a message into the chat box about how you're feeling. That was literally a little 5-minute holiday that we just took. I'm always amazed at how quickly that box breathing just starts to settle things down. It's lovely, isn't it? Yeah, Tom says, so simple, so powerful. That was amazing. And Jody says, grounded and peaceful. That's beautiful. Lynn says, ready to take on the afternoon. That's nice. I always feel like my head has cleared. I I feel almost clear. It's lovely. And you can keep that breathing going too. Like, I think sometimes when we've regulated our breathing, the breathing starts to be much more regulated as we move forward as well. I find I'm often very, very high in my chest breathing, shallow breathing. So now we've got that lovely deep breathing going. We can keep that going as well. I'm with you, Angie. I never realize how rapidly I am actually breathing until I start doing boxed breathing. She says, "A lovely exercise, thank you." Yeah, and that was literally 5 minutes. Like, we've got noise, distractions, whatever going on, but I like to just sit for a moment. Yeah. Gail says, so simple to focus on the breathing and be present in the moment, and yet so hard if you don't practice it. So that is a really lovely way of concluding our time together, Gail, to really encourage you all and to encourage the people around us to practice it. 5 minutes adds up. I can tell you. I've been doing this for 5 minutes, 10 minutes a day for nearly a year and a half. I've clocked nearly 9,000 minutes. I've been doing it since the beginning of the year last year. It's amazing how quickly, or the way that things add up in terms of numbers. Yeah, Tom says, I agree with you now. I find I'm chest breathing. I'm the same, very high. You can hear in my voice now the difference. So when I was, explaining all this to you, I'm high in my chest. And now, even I've done this with you, you can hear how lower my voice is. I am down in my, Tom says, tummy breathing is so effective. So yeah, you can hear everything's kind of lowered. Very, very good to do before we go into a coaching conversation or any kind of conversation, really. All right, everyone. Well, thank you. Shoulders dropped as well, Alex. Yes, I agree with you. My shoulders have dropped. My jaw has loosened. You can feel other body changes. The breath is lower. Shoulders are dropped. We're kind of more grounded now. Yeah. Lovely. Wishing you, thanks, Angie. Lovely way to finish. Wishing you all a lovely weekend. Enjoy the rest of your day. If you're taking a little holiday using mindfulness, good on you. And thank you for joining me on my holidays. I look forward to catching up with you all. And Gail says it's an amazing thing. Yeah. So well done. You have really tapped into the difference it's made in our physiology as well as our breathing, which is a really terrific thing. Have a relaxing weekend to you too, Jody. Thank you for joining me on my holidays. And I look forward to catching up with you at our next Coaching Cafe. Thanks, everybody.